So what do you like about shooting in autumn?
Well, after the really hot, sweaty, muggy summers, which I think the longer I'm, into like going outdoors and stuff, the less I like those. Just sunburnt, bugs swatting at you from all directions and trying to bite you and everything else. And like, the really long sunny days and it's which are, beautiful on their own, but like for photography speaking, just very and drawn out and very high contrast. They're not the most desirable, we'll say. So, and
Mhm.
like you were saying about, you kind of get in a rut almost with just, especially late summer, just kind of like, what do I really shoot? Besides like maybe I don't know, shorebird migration, the emergence of warblers in the Midwest again. Just to name some examples, but basically, yeah. I mean, autumn is great because it just feels like it's a transitionary season. Like it's very much about just the changing of everything around us. Like I said, migrating birds, the weather kind of changes. Like I feel like there's a lot more overcast days and overcast light, which me is like my definitely a preference. I guess I'll say with lighting or just very fair weather skies. So you can basically shoot out all day if you wanted to. But that's just my opinion. But I mean, like I just like the colors. Obviously, as they change, just seeing them change, and then when they hit that peak color, and just having all these places scouted around that, like I can go to and shoot landscapes of lake reflections or different intimate landscapes of the leaves are just falling on the ground. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many different things. Even waterfalls, which I prefer with greenery, like spring or summer foliage, look quite striking even with autumn. Leaves falling around them and everything or even hiking around my local gorges and just all the like I said the leaves falling on the rocks. Like there's just so much different things you can see and just to see it all kind of like with spring, kind of the same way. It's like a transitionary time of the year. It's like just seeing it all change and everything and unfold is just quite striking and beautiful. So just lots of fun, just different things to shoot. This time of year.
Oh yeah, it's one of the biggest variety years for or seasons to shoot. Um, I feel like just like you said, the migration is it's not may not be as prominent as spring migration, but you get all kinds of returning species that you just haven't seen for months, and they're just so fun to photograph.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we'll touch on that here for a second, I guess. But like, I know in particular, especially with warblers, the smaller kind of songbirds that pass through. At least here is the Mississippi Flyway, this part of the country, and it's neat, but it's kind of like a double-edged sword because like versus spring, I'll say they're much more colorful in the spring. Their bird song is much more prominent, louder from the males because they're obviously trying to attract the mates and get nesting territories established. So they're kind of like fighting over that. And the foliage is a lot less prominent, at least in early spring, in mid spring, I guess. So it's easier to spot the brightly colored birds that are singing very loudly, like almost all times of day, even. And that's a much more fleeting and faster paced migration, we'll say. Like they're quick to kind of go in and out, unless if they're a common native breeder, breeder of kind of like a species. But in autumn, it's different because it's much more drawn out. It's much more longer migration. They usually take their more time to stock up on food reserves, and they'll take breaks at the local your local patches, we'll say. And they're much more slower in that migration down south, usually to like South America or Central or Mexico or whatever. And so it's a lot more drawn out, but their colors on the foliage, or excuse me, foliage, the plumage of these birds is a lot more duller in color, both male and female. And you're going to hear a lot less bird song as well. So they're going to be much quieter because they obviously aren't mating this time of year. They're just merely trying to stock up on food and make their maiden voyage down south. So that's just a quick little blurb, but um,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's still a very rewarding time, and you can still see plenty of life for birds, and it's still very very exciting. But you get more time with them, which is neat too. So, but you definitely have to be a much more skilled birder, I think, to see them all. This time of year.